Welcome learners. In this session, we shall study about the intervention and the techniques. Interventions are actions performed to bring about change in the people. A wide range of intervention strategies exist and they are directed towards various types of issues. Most generally, it means any activities used to modify behavior, emotional state or feelings. The main objective of this session is to study about the types of intervention, process of intervention designing, evaluation of intervention program, intervention techniques. In applied social psychology, there is a systematic application of social psychological constructs, theories and intervention techniques. It is fundamentally based on four important values like accuracy, to maintain the authenticity of the information used, objectivity to minimize the bias in evaluation of data, skepticism to verify the results obtained and open-mindedness to accept the result regardless of their consequences. Applied social psychology as opposed to fundamental social psychology tries to understand the problems existing in the social spectrum of a community and attempts to eliminate the effects of those problems with the help of plans and programs together known as intervention. Problems existing in education, crime, justice, environment, mass media, organizational work, politics, sports, religion, health and illness, consumerism, etc. are all important areas of research for this field. Types of intervention. Intervention is described as a direct or indirect strategic procedure to bring improvement in people's behavior with respect to some social problem. These procedures may be helpful if implemented at two levels: personal and programmatic. Personal intervention is any methodical use of personal knowledge and understanding to improve behavior, while programmatic intervention focuses on development and implementation of planned and organized activities targeted at a wider range of people. If a person motivates himself to quit smoking by focusing on the message provided in mass media, or when a person keeps his neighborhood clean by following sustainability of the environment, it may be termed as personal intervention. But when the government designs an idea to educate people on health issues of smoking, releasing it via media campaigns, or deploys government officials at community level for educating people about dry and wet waste, supplying the biodegradable trash bags, it is termed as programmatic intervention. Programmatic interventions are thus wide-scale approaches to address social and practical problems designed to create behavioral changes in people. These interventions are developed with the help of research studies and need trial run in order to be proven effective. Therefore, they are sometimes referred to as trial interventions. Trial interventions start off on the basis of hypothesis, also called intervention hypothesis, that assumes the relationship between the intervention strategy and the expected outcomes. These programs are implemented on a smaller sample before being sanctioned at larger scale on a permanent basis. The COVID-19 pandemic saw use of many such programmatic interventions on part of the Home Ministry of the country in different regions to arrest the problem of rapid spread, namely lockdown implementation, hotspot policing, quarantine center setup and mobile apps for risk detection and financial plan revisions that were advocated to program people's behaviors on one hand and to keep economic functioning smooth on the other. Process of intervention designing. The following are the sequential steps to implement solutions for a social problem. First, identification of problem area and the problem. Problems are identified by the stakeholders who have vested interest in the given area like research funding agencies. This is accomplished on the basis of the needs assessment, that is, the evaluation of the existence, nature and intensity of the need to develop an intervention program in that area. Needs assessment may be obtained formally through research and data collection. For example, need for global research in biological and social dynamics to understand adolescents' use of unsafe or self-destructive behaviors and help them overcome such problematic behaviors that may otherwise interfere with their grades and creativity. Or informally, for example, teachers in a school may administer personality development programs for their children. Such assessment also brings out the difficulties in implementation of the programs. Identification of the causes. Delineating the causal factors of the problem and hypothesizing the solution forms the next important step. Causes include precipitating factors and perpetuating factors triggering and sustaining the problem respectively. For example, curiosity can lead to the start of substance abuse. This is a precipitating factor, and peer pressure, personality, economic factors are perpetuating factor may be involved in continuation of the behavior in adolescence. Therefore, the perpetuating factors have to be given more importance than precipitating factor to solve a problem sometimes. Taking the pandemic example, the perpetuating factors found in people's panic, ignorance and lack of discipline is much more important issue that needs to be solved than the precipitating factor, the coronavirus itself, to stop the problem till the vaccine is invented for the same. Goal setting to activity planning. Program logic model. Goals are set for the program to accomplish long-term outcomes in behavioral change. Objectives are subsets of the goal that give clarified and direction to the activities within the program. These objectives are short-term outcomes that are achieved continuously to reach the goal in term demanding reconsideration and modification of objectives time and again so as to reach an effective solution. Objectives are made up of activities to undertaken by the stakeholders. A program logic model is a blueprint of the various components of a program goals, objectives, activities that gives a rational explanation of the activities fulfilling the objectives and goals by highlighting the causal relationships among them. For example, the goal of an organization may be to alleviate problems of occupational violence. This may be broken down to smaller objectives such as improving employees' interpersonal relationships with management, co-workers, family, mental health, official recognition of his effects. So, in order to commensurate the objectives and goal, activities should include allowing proper communication channels, grievance cells, counseling of family members, stress management programs and definite reinforcement programs for the employees to maintain sense of fair treatment. However, program logic model are hard to implement in some cases, making researchers opt for the theory of change model illustrating the changes desired, assumptions for the changes to occur and the preconditions enabling the change. Fourth, implementation of intervention. The last step is to actualize the program by identifying the target population, allocating required budget, policy making and protocol planning. However, the effectiveness of the program has to be evaluated for the program to be continued. Outcome evaluation, it is the final process of assessing the impact of intervention by detecting the benefits as well as the issues after the final implementation. Evaluation of intervention programs. The reasons for evaluation of programmatic interventions are mostly scientific, ethical or financial. The scientific reasons lies in the fact that intervention programs are developed on the basis of theoretical assumptions that can be validated only by the implementation and the feedback analysis of these programs. This helps in addition of theories that may further be put to use in the field of application. Ethical reason for evaluation includes many social problems that pose as evils to the society at large such as poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, domestic violence, substance abuse, etc. It is the political as well as ethical responsibility of the respective governments to ensure the people are benefited from the programs educationally, socially, economically and physically. Financial accountability refers to the stakeholders' responsibility of ascertaining that the money being used in development and implementation of the program is worthwhile and not wasted by evaluating the degree of effectiveness of the basis of such measures in the recipients. Program development is the ultimate reason for evaluation so that the modifications can be easily brought about by studying the measure of the benefits or the barriers and program success as a whole. Programs may be rendered ineffective in the following situations: inadequate theoretical rationale supporting the goal objective activity relationship, incompatibility between program design and implementation technique, reactance in program recipients. Reactance is the resistance towards the program as a result of sense of loss of freedom or choices forced on them. Culture bias, for example, education about preventing pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases is not culturally approved in some countries. Use of inappropriate research design. Quasi-experimental research designs may be preferred to experimental designs in case of social problems because of former's greater external validity or generalization. Lack of scientific data as evidence for successful development of intervention programs. Therefore, intervention designs should be formulated by keeping these issues under consideration. Evaluation may be activated in three major ways. First, the process evaluation, which is formative evaluation. It is the evaluation of the target population and activities designed to reach the target. For example, if a drug rehabilitation center has planned for 2 group counseling sessions per month for its juvenile victims as a treatment program, process evaluation is made to see that the specific group of patients undergo the specified counseling sessions for the given period. Number 2, outcome evaluation. It is the summative evaluation. It is the evaluation of how well the program outcome meets its objectives and fulfills the goal. For instance, the drug rehabilitation center using a drug treatment program might assess the outcome in terms of how long the victims stay away from substance abuse and if the goal of permanent self-resistance is achieved. Developmental evaluation. This kind of evaluation focuses on the new approaches and methods of solution to a problem for an innovative design which may subsequently put to process and outcome evaluations. Like In social problems of poverty and nutrition, new models of agricultural programs may be designed to meet economic and health needs. It may be noted that the nature of social problems is multidimensional in our existing socio-political environment, and that interventions may have to be planned in more holistic terms that makes the participation of every community member important in solving the problem. In this regard, comprehensive community initiative, that is CCI, includes all people in the community, children, youth and families, to solve the problem. Examples of issues addressed by CCIs are readiness for school, disproportionate representation of minority and lower socio-income status, abuse and neglect, suicide, substance abuse, underage drinking, mental and physical health, delinquency and violence. CCIs take a broad view of community, engage all sectors of the community, use long-term strategies and encourage participatory decision making by stakeholders, community member. Wrap-around initiative is way or the process of working with children and youth having serious mental health problems and their families. Wraparound based community service help children or youth and their families in their home, school and community in an effort to meet their needs holistically. Application of intervention development of public or legislative policies. Policy refers to the guidelines for a general course of action, while intervention refers to the actual set of actions taken up to implement the policy. The effective use and the success of intervention programs may lead the administration to create public policies that help in large scale alleviation of social problems. As the real world is constantly changing, greater use of evidence in policy design is required instead of focus on history and cultural past. For instance, Government of India plans to formally train 40 crore people in specific skills so as to remove the problem of unemployment and recruitment in Indian industrial sector under the PM scheme of Kaushal Vikas Yojana. The Beti Bachao Beti Padhao initiative and the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan aim at gender equality to solve the problem of illiteracy among women, and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is an important initiative by the government to solve the problem of environmental pollution. Intervention techniques. The incremental theory of personality intervention, that is the mindset interventions focused on personality. Intervention aimed at making people see that their socially relevant and personal characteristics can be changed. The intervention leads to social problems being perceived as less threatening. The intervention can contribute to better stress management, mental health and school performance. The empathetic discipline intervention. Intervention that aims to make the teachers think differently about difficult behavior in the classroom so that they can respond more empathetically. The change from a punitive mindset to an empathetic mindset helps the teachers to appreciate the student's perspective more and assist in students' growth and maintain good relationships with the student. This intervention uses self-belief techniques by asking teachers to explain how they manage to respond empathetically to misbehavior and the benefits of this. The group malleability intervention. These interventions teach members of the groups that groups can change. This intervention can contribute to resolving intergroup conflicts. The reappraising emotions intervention. This is for couples. Intervention aimed at maintaining the quality of marital relationships. Part of this intervention is to view couples' conflict with their partners from a third person perspective. The intervention helps to interpret emotions differently in conflicts and to deal with them better. The abstract reframing intervention. Intervention aimed at strengthening certainty among the partners about their relationship. Partners are asked to remember and view a compliment from their partner as a meaningful and significant example of how their partners admire them in a broader sense. The social norms approach. Intervention that tells people that other people exhibit certain desired behavior and will appreciate them if they also exhibit that behavior. Dynamic norms interventions. Interventions used in situations where most people contribute to the problem. For example, waste, pollution, etc. The intervention works by informing people about the positive changes in other people. For example, X percentage of people eat meat less often. Issues in interventions. The implementation of programmatic interventions may face many constraints. These are rooted in the process and ethical issues mainly. As per the process issues, budgets and funding may be limited if the stakeholders and funders' ideologies guiding the program module are not flexible. Interpersonal conflicts among the stakeholders and the failure to make effective collaboration may also stand in the way of successful program implementation. Organizational constraints like rules, policies, limited operating staff, etc. also play a role in the functionality of the intervention methods. Some of these constraints are, however, workable, but some may be completely non-negotiable. Applied social psychologists are ethically concerned about which stakeholder to make responsible for developing solution to a problem and how to protect individual rights of the clients, such as informed consent and confidentiality, while involving the stakeholders in the system. It is the dilemma of the researchers involved as to which part of the information to be revealed, as it may lead to consequences thereafter. For example, organizational heads of different companies ask for the reports in exchange of data collected from their employees, which may become an issue in the research and development process of an intervention plan, as it disregards the ethics of confidentiality, leaving researchers confused. They may be struck with dilemmas even in case of competing values and cultural differences among the stakeholders. Therefore, to resolve such ethical issues, psychologists should have free and open discussion with the stakeholders, organizations and all the members, laying out all professional and ethical standards clearly. A multi-stakeholder committee may be set up to allow fair and distributed roles, recognize the individual needs and accountability and promote general transparency. It is the utmost duty of the psychologist to keep the interest of the people with problems ahead of personal interest and stakeholders' gains. Acting in crisis intervention. Taking action in crisis intervention involves intentionally responding to the assessment of the situation and needs in one of the three ways: non-directive, collaborative or directive. Non-directive counseling is preferable when a person is able to plan and implement actions on their own that they choose to take. Collaborative counseling involves working together with them to evaluate the problem, identify options for addressing it and taking actions toward a particular option. Collaborative counseling approaches are helpful when a person is able to participate in planning and taking action, but it is not able to complete the entire process on their own. Directive counseling is necessary when a person is assessed as being immobilized by their experience to the extent that they are unable to cope with the crisis. Individuals can be trained to use directive counseling to take temporary control and the responsibility for the situation. Conclusion: the situation in India is way more complex than ever hypothesized, and therefore proper identification of problems and development of their adequate solutions have to be ethically and professionally consummated. Program logic models should be developed by the use of empirically and scientifically sourced research data about the current problems in India, and then action plans should be formulated with a wholesome approach to data management for the creation of theoretical solutions to the problems. Public legislative policies and their implementation in Indian population may be righteously accomplished if the preconditions are met and appraised effectively, thus helping the population of India in preventing many of its contemporary social problems. To summarize, in this unit we have started to understand about the group dynamics, which is nothing but the social process by which people interact and behave in a group environment. In order to understand the group dynamics, classification of groups is studied. Formal groups are structured to pursue a specific task, and informal groups emerge naturally in the response to organizational or member interests. A group is formed through collective efforts which comprises of 5 stages, namely forming, storming, norming, performing and adjourning. Soon after the group is evolved, it begins to function, and these functions of the group is divided into 3: task functions, maintenance functions and self-interest functions. Through these functions, there is influence in the effectiveness and productivity of the group. There are few basic features of a group which affects various aspects of thoughts and behavior. These features are status, roles, norms and cohesiveness. Factors that affect their adaptability to the group are also discussed in detail. In the next session, group performance and group decision making are analyzed in depth. By understanding the factors that influence the group performance, Sajong's drive theory of social facilitation explains that the mere presence of others increases the arousal and thereby the frequency of dominant responses. Decision making is other key concept which is explained as choosing a course action after carefully considering the various options available in it. Advantages and disadvantages of group decision making are explained in detail. The concept of group polarization is explained as the tendency for a group to make decisions that are more extreme than the initial inclination of its members. 3 major factors like groupthink, biased processing of information in groups, and the failure to share information unique to each member are discussed in detail. The techniques to support the decision making are also explained in this session, which will further enhance the group to make better decisions. In the third session, intergroup prejudice and intergroup conflicts are discussed. Prejudice consists of a derogatory attitude towards social groups or their members. Social discrimination is the behavioral manifestation of prejudice ranging from explicit negative treatment of others based on their group membership to tokenism and reverse discrimination. The causes for prejudice and the remedies to rectify the prejudice are explained with the suitable examples. The theories of intergroup relation are also pinned up. Social identity and self-categorization theory, social dominance theory and their realistic conflict theory are illustrated with the suitable instances in the group. Finally, the intervention techniques are studied in this session. With this, it is concluded that groups provide support and encouragement to help individuals to make changes in behavior and attitude. Social groups fulfill one of the basic psychological needs for survival, that is a sense of belonging. Groups provide social support in various aspects of life like decision making, performance and in the conflicting situations. Thank you.